Good morning, everybody, and a warm welcome to our Base Spotlight webinar. We've got lots of exciting content to get through today, so we will kick off straight away. So if you're still making a cup of tea, you're going to miss these crucial moments at the beginning. My name is Pete Dupont, and I look after the UK partnerships here at Base.com. As part of my role, I get to showcase our key partners and their expertise. And today I'm really excited to welcome Ben Weir, CEO of TikTok agency Unsociable. Ben, welcome. Thank you for joining us. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me, Pete. I'm very well and excited to be talking to you and lots of your customers and probably some people that aren't customers yet of yours that are joining us today.
A nice mix, I'm sure. Do you want to give us a quick intro about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'll cover it in a bit more detail in our slides, but just as a quick overview, my name's Ben Muir, as you said, and I'm the CEO of Unsociable. We're one of the top rated TikTok shop partners globally. I've been in this space for about 4 years now, the TikTok space. Originally started through a bit of a topsy-turvy content journey, doing like more stylized stuff on YouTube and Instagram. And then when TikTok started to become a thing and it wasn't just the Gen Z dancing app anymore, we gave it a try with organic content, and I was the guinea pig for it, which meant that I was on the feed trying the trends, doing the content, which somehow went viral. I ended up becoming a character on the page called Grumpy Scottish Boss, which was like an exaggerated version of myself. For some reason that went viral, and that just kind of led to a snowball of events that Unsociable was born out of, and led to us understanding TikTok shop the way we do and what we're here to talk to you about today.
Awesome. I knew I recognized you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ben. And I guess 4 years in TikTok is a long time, and you've seen all that stuff, and hopefully we'll touch on lots of those points later on. For those watching, listening, please, any questions or comments, feel free to drop them in the chat, and we'll get to them at the end of the webinar in the Q&A session if time permits. If not, we can follow up with you directly after the event. We're going to talk about these sort of 5 main areas today. First, of course, is a bit of an intro about Base for those who aren't familiar and haven't been to these sessions before. We'll then talk a little bit about the e-commerce backdrop in the UK of marketplaces and how TikTok shop sort of fits into that. We're then going to hear from Ben, again, a bit more about the services that Unsociable offer, but some of the strategies and sort of quick wins, if there is such a thing, on TikTok shop that Ben can talk us through. We'll then move on to a piece on how Base incorporates TikTok shop alongside other e-com channels to help you operate seamlessly. And we'll have a few questions at the end. Just on this screen here is a QR code for those who are interested in signing up to a TikTok shop program. This is a Base partnership, and through this partnership, you might be able to get support from the TikTok team. This is typically aimed at sellers over a certain size, let's say £1 million annual revenue. So by all means, if you're thinking about signing up to the program, scan that QR code now, and I'll share it again at the end and see if the TikTok team can help you. Again, for those who aren't Base users or haven't heard of Base before, Base is an end-to-end multi-channel management platform that helps e-com sellers better manage, coordinate, and scale their online channels. Since 2006, we've grown really rapidly across many different countries, and we have now over 30,000 users across the globe. Base is a multifunctional platform which brings together different components of the e-commerce operational flow, particularly consolidating those sales channels. So that's marketplaces, web shops, and of course, social commerce. It stores your product data for those listings. It manages your inventory and pricing and creates listings on those channels and new channels that you want to adopt. It brings back all the orders into Base to be fulfilled and dispatched in any way that you as a seller or brand see fit. Base has its own WMS and pick and pack solutions, but also, of course, multiple integrations with 3PLs that you might currently be using. We also have a very powerful inbuilt analytics tool, which gives you live P&L on marketplaces where supported, with AI installed as well. So a very new tool, a very new powerful tool, which is waiting to be adopted by you to give you better insights. Just I'll quickly mention pricing because it's important. There are no fixed contracts or fixed volumes to hit when you use Base. We operate on a pay-as-you-go approach based on order volumes, typically, and all of these features that I just mentioned are open, so there are no hidden costs to be able to adopt some of these modules within Base. Of course, for those who'd like to learn more, please get in touch after the webinar and I'll share some details on how you can do that. So TikTok Shop in the UK e-commerce scene, typically in e-commerce as a pure discipline, we talk about marketplaces as an example of a happy balance of a destination site with ready-made traffic and shoppers that are there with intent. So consumers begin their journey on the marketplace. They know what they want. They search for the item and the algorithm helps direct those consumers to those products. We also talk about building brands and how tapping into marketplaces, perhaps against the backdrop of a solid D2C website, can help create brand presence and trust. To win, in inverted commas, on marketplaces, we talk about optimizing the listings, make sure you fulfill on time, get reviews, build traction, etc. across your channels. That, I suppose, is what you'd call a sort of a typical multi-channel e-commerce strategy. TikTok Shop has really added a whole new dimension to this mix, but initially it wasn't a sales channel as such. And Ben, correct me if I'm wrong here. So I'm going to ask for your expertise in a second. But from an overview perspective, TikTok was a social platform, and it used to work where content was created. There was a link to a shop, a point in the bio. You pull to an external website and the consumer makes that purchase outside of TikTok. And in a nutshell, TikTok used to generate demand. Nowadays, of course, TikTok Shop, you create the content, which creates interest, which leads to a purchase all in one place. And TikTok Shop really captures everything instantly. First of all, Ben, am I right? And secondly, have you seen that shift from short form platform to a really serious commerce platform?
Yeah, I think it's been a super interesting transition, hasn't it? Because the way that you thought of TikTok when it first started to rise to prominence is definitely not the way that it's seen in the e-commerce landscape now. I think probably the biggest evolution, you're right, has been the fact that they built commerce into the app, and they're obviously the first social media platform to do this and for it to work. And they're the first commerce platform who's managed to combine social for it to work, because we've seen Amazon and eBay try in the past to integrate social commerce. And they're trying again now, as I'm sure you probably heard, into it. But TikTok's really the first one that's, you're right, managed to bridge the gap between content and commerce into one. And that's why it's such a powerful tool for brands now.
And from the conversations that you are having then, Ben, from your viewpoint, how have those brands been tackling these two worlds colliding again of social media and commerce together? And how have you seen that transition? Is it an easy subject to break down, or is it sort of quite natural for them?
It's challenging for a lot of brands because they don't know where to put it. Because of the nature of it, it combines multiple disciplines. So where you might have like a really good trading commercial e-com team that really understands like profitability margins and supply chain and logistics and ops and all the things you need to be successful to trade on most marketplaces. Then you've got a team internally who really understands like content and influencer, but actually bringing those two together is quite challenging for a lot of businesses. And along with that, you've got what is still Wild West is maybe a strong term, but there's still a lot of unknowns with TikTok Shop. There's still a lot that people are figuring out. I mean, TikTok themselves don't even fully understand their own platform. It's kind of like we've created this thing and we don't fully know how it all works, which is the same with a lot of big tech companies. So because of all of those different reasons, it can be incredibly tricky to navigate. On top of that, you've got the additional layer that it's becoming more and more competitive by the day, as all marketplaces do as they grow.
Yeah, and that's really the interesting bit, that from a broader picture, the fit isn't always a given for certain businesses, products, etc. If you take the viewpoint of a marketplace, even for the most niche of products, there's always a marketplace that should work. Perhaps not all, but there's always going to be a fit for some products on some channels. For TikTok Shop, there isn't this certainty, to my understanding, and there's a bit of soul searching as to whether TikTok Shop will work based on the products or the category. Is that a fair comment?
Yeah, it's a big part of my job day to day, and our team's job is just vetting what wouldn't work and being able to give brands honest advice on that. Because I think you're right. Like some of the biggest sellers on Amazon, it just doesn't translate to TikTok Shop. And then there's brands that work on both, and then there's brands that work on TikTok Shop that would probably struggle a bit on Amazon, because people aren't really searching for this type of thing. So yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. To be honest, it's a challenging one, and something that everyone's learning as they go along. I challenge my own assumptions, probably almost daily, on what works and what doesn't work.
And so you must have come across some projects or brands you thought would succeed and didn't, or probably had to turn away some potentially good business based on the experience that you felt it might not work.
Yeah, definitely. And I always say that to every brand that I speak to. I'm like, if like I'm offering you my expertise and our insight here, but do feel free to go and absolutely prove me wrong. And some have, like when we've said no to people. And I love to see that because it helps us learn. Like, okay, we were wrong, and we're humble enough to go like, we were wrong. Let's review that and change that for next time. But then there's other times where we're right, and the brand like goes at it anyway, or even like even if they pull all the right levers, and oftentimes they do, they just didn't have the right product fit for platform. So it's just trying to figure those things out up front, as a challenge.
Yeah, and being as transparent as possible. So for those of you listening, thinking of starting out on TikTok Shop, it's not a given, but certainly Ben and the team are here to help, which is a great segue into hearing more about what Unsociable can do, Ben. So let me pass over to you, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Pete. Yeah, so I'll go through this. I always feel the best way to illustrate things is with the stories that you can tell, so that you can really see from a practical standpoint what is and isn't working, like what we did, what went well, what went wrong. So I've got some framework stuff in here because I really want to leave your viewers with actionable things that they can take away, that they can literally steal from us and put in their business. So I've got those in there. But then what we've also got is a lot of stories from brands that we've been successful with, and also brands that maybe weren't successful at first, but we found ways of making them successful, because I feel that you learn a lot from those. So that's the kind of bulk of today's, and then I'm also going to give you a little bit of a behind the hood on Unsociable, and show you some of our origin story, if you like, some of the early days and what it looked like. So you're in for a treat. No screenshotting is what I'd say to your audience. No screenshotting this, because I don't want it out in the world. Just for a bit of background, so we've already got almost half of the UK have now, half of the active TikTok users in the UK have made a purchase on TikTok Shop now, which I think is quite a staggering stat when we consider that more than half of the UK use it every single day. So the audience size that you've got there is tremendous. And one of the most interesting things I think about TikTok Shop is there's still very much a conception, or misconception rather, in market that it's just for Gen Z, that Gen Z drive the bulk of purchasing. Yes, it's true, Gen Z do make the most purchases overall on app, but if you look at the big brands on the platform, and if we look at our spread, our demographic spread with our clients, by far and away our biggest buying demographic is 35 to 45-year-old female, because they've got a bit more spend power than what Gen Z do. So when it comes to like strong brands that are trying to build a base on the platform, it's probably not Gen Z you're going after for the most part. There'll be some absorption of that market, but in actual fact, you're probably speaking to a similar customer base that you are on other marketing channels. So I always think that's an interesting one for people to consider. And then just seeing the stats grow in the market overall, like it's just grown tremendously year on year. Q4 there was just our biggest quarter ever on TikTok Shop in the UK. So we're really seeing the demand just continue to rise, which is exciting for everyone that's involved in the space. This is us. So in a nutshell, what we do is we make it ridiculously easy for brands to go viral on TikTok Shop. I'm not going to spend too long on this because I don't want to give you the sales pitch, but I do think it's important to give you the credentials if you've not heard of Unsociable or myself, so you know that we know what we're talking about. But yeah, in a nutshell, that's what we do. We make it ridiculously easy for brands to go viral by covering everything end to end on TikTok Shop. That's all we do as a business. We've been laser focused on that for over 3 years now. And probably the best business decision I've ever made in my life was making the switch from trying to be a jack of all trades and master of none to just being super focused on one channel and really understanding this. And trust me, there's enough within this one channel to go at that there's plenty to kind of unpack. And like I said earlier, very much still learning every single day and advancing our product, our operation. And you and I were talking before we came on air, Pete, about that. Like that's the kind of stuff that keeps me up at night. Like I'm like, how do we get better for our brands all the time? So you can see some of our numbers there. We've driven over 150 million GMV on TikTok Shop globally. We're one of the top rated partners globally. So we operate in the US, the UK, Germany, France. We're currently expanding to Spain and Italy at the moment. And we will be opening other international markets as well. We've got the largest TikTok live streaming studio in Europe that we built ourselves from scratch. So you'll see many of the biggest brands on the platform, their streams operate out of Unsociable headquarters, and oftentimes we are the engine behind a lot of the big brands that you see and a lot of the big case studies that you see. And excitingly for the audience today, I'm actually going to take you behind the scenes of a lot of these big brands. Humble brags that I like to get in as well. We're the only partner to win the live stream award twice from TikTok themselves. We also won a video production excellence award. And we won EU Service Partner of the Year from Fastmos. So that's all my bragging and flandering and sales pitchy bit done. We can get into the meat of things now. So I thought I'd start with a big question that everyone asks is like TikTok Shop or TikTok in general is all about going viral. And a lot of people think that virality is this kind of wishy-washy term. Like, what does it actually mean? How do we actually do it? Is it even possible? Like, is viral just reserved for these certain types of brands? No, to be honest, there is a formula to going viral. There is ways to go viral that are all but guaranteed. So that's what I want to give you guys today. So this is our really, it's a summarized framework of everything that we do to set up and launch a brand. And you can literally take these steps and replicate them for yourself. So I wanted to give you the overarching view on how to do this. And then we're going to go more, as we go through this, more into the granular sections within each of this and illustrate it with some examples like I promised, because they are coming. So when we first bring brands on board, we're looking at what's the competitive landscape that they're sitting in. We're building out a strategy for launching on the platform. We're thinking about what product is going to be their hero product or products. And we're thinking about that affiliate strategy. And we're also thinking about the commercials of the channel. So that's the first thing. So my doors just went and my dog's going crazy.
Very excited about TikTok Shop, clearly.
Yeah. Well, he's only one, so he's a bit of a crazy guy. He'll calm down in a minute. There we go. I think he's chilling out now. I could probably bring him on the call, to be fair. He's quite knowledgeable on TikTok Shop because he sits and listens to me on calls all day. So yeah.
No more than me.
Yeah. Anyway, after we do the onboard phase and we're thinking about what to do on the platform, we go into that testing phase, which is thinking about what are the product strategies that we want to test, what are the affiliate strategies that we want to test, and really learning just what's working on the platform. So that phase can take anywhere from 2 weeks if something clicks right away, all the way up to like 8 weeks. And that's when you start to see the snowball effect of things starting to go viral during this phase. During the grow phase, what we really want to do is that's when we want to see our first viral point. So I have had this as quick as like a couple of weeks after launching on the platform. That's like rapid time. But for the most part, that usually takes a couple of months for most brands. So I like to actually say timelines to people, because I think people are like, some people are like, oh yeah, it'll take 6 months. Some people are like, yeah, it'll take 2 weeks. But I think in actual fact, you'll find this kind of middle ground. For us, our average point of virality, somewhere between month 3 and month 4. So that's typically how long it takes to go viral on the platform. And then once you've found those viral products, that's when you kind of enter the scale phase. So you can continue to build on that and grow week over week. I think I've had like 3 different deliveries all come at the one time, Pete. So
Good timing.
Give me 1 sec. I'll be right back.
Those TikTok shop orders coming in. So it gives those of you watching a minute to catch your breath, write your notes, and then give your fingers a break from tapping on the keyboard and writing up some of your strategies here. I think what Ben mentioned is really interesting in terms of timescales to success. What does success mean from a brand perspective? Is it by having content created and having it out there? Or is it really about creating your first sale as a new channel? But equally about, yes, that point of getting into that flywheel, which can then further push you along. Marcus has put a comment here. Kids are tougher to handle. I agree. Ben, I've actually got a dog behind me as well, so I'm hoping yours doesn't set mine off in case we have to cancel the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'd argue that point on kids. He's obviously not met Bruce, because Bruce is just turned 1-year-old cockapoo, and he's pretty crazy. So, but he seems to have calmed down now, so I think we're all good.
Cool. We haven't met Marcus's kids either, to be fair.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we don't know about Marcus's kids. So yeah, as I was saying, once you go through that kind of growth phase and you're finding which products work, then that's when you kind of enter what we call the scale phase. So that's where you've got one viral product and you're looking at multiple potential viral products, because that's what you need. If you don't have multiple viral products, what you can often see with TikTok Shop is you get this big viral spike and then things start to tail off. So you'll see that illustrated in some of the examples that we've got coming up from big brands on the platform. But I think it's something well worth considering. And people ask me this often, which is like, do we just go viral and then things taper off? And the answer is kind of yes and no. So yes, you can go viral and things can taper off. But if you've got the right strategy, either to refresh your main hero product, so come up with a new creative angle or a different way of talking about it, maybe it's used differently in one season versus another. Those type of things can work for keeping a hero product invigorated. But the best way to do it is to have new hero products coming up the rear, to make sure that it never really burns out, which is different from like another marketplace channel. If you're on Amazon or something, then things are quite often evergreen. And then what we call our amplify phase is like everything's working on the channel. You've got lives, you've got affiliates, you've got multiple hero products. And that's just about how do we continue to scale it. And that's a really deep dive, like long-term vision of like, how do we build products for this channel first? So that's a framework. Feel free to screenshot it. You can build a kind of strategy around it using this as well. I know I said no screenshots, but those are on images of me. So this is all okay. Cool. So one of the most important the most important thing on TikTok Shop by far is the product strategy. So which products are you going to lead with? You've seen it, mentioned it in the framework previously. You'll see it throughout all of the examples I'm about to show you. But the number one most important thing is the product strategy. And how do you build a good product strategy on TikTok Shop? Well, that's what we built this framework for. It's something to get our team's minds working on what are all of the components of a great viral product on TikTok Shop. So this is called the SPENT framework. And basically what we're trying to do is a few different things with a product. And I'll show you an example of this on the next slide. But S is stop the scroll. So if you think about the way that you interact with TikTok or any social media platform, what is every video that's viral trying to do? They're trying to get you to stop, and they're trying to get your attention. And it needs to be like that. Because we used to say you have 3 seconds to get someone's attention with an ad. We now think it's something like 0.8 seconds. So you got 0.8 seconds to grab someone's attention. You need something instantly that's going to stop the scroll. Whether that's like a compelling visual of the product itself, whether it's packaging led, there's lots of different ways to do this. But you need something that's going to stop and grab that user's attention. Then a lot of people ask if TikTok Shop is like a discount led platform. It is to some extent, because people are impulse purchasing a lot of the time, as a lot of retail channels are. There needs to be some element of like, oh yeah, I'm getting a good deal, so I should get that right now. But what I'd say is, rather than thinking about like, does everything have to be discount led, think about pricing for value. So even if you're not a company that drives huge discounts, you need to give them a compelling offer to buy in the moment. So we get creative with stuff like that when brands don't offer like huge discount ranges. So whether it's like we bring a bundle to market, or we offer like a gift with purchase, we're thinking about how we can price for value when we do that. And then what we say is exclusivity accelerates. So something that's been a really successful tactic for us over the year is having platform exclusive products. So building out products or bundles that are only available on TikTok Shop, because what that's doing is shortening the length of time that the customer has to think so that they buy in the moment. And that's what TikTok Shop's driven on. It's driven on impulse purchasing. So if you can stop the scroll, get someone to view the content, if you can make someone realize that they're getting a good value deal so that they don't have to think about it too much about going elsewhere or whether it's a good offer or not. And then if it's exclusive, then they don't need to think about, oh yeah, I'll go buy this from the shop. I'll go search this up elsewhere. It's like, I can only get this here in the moment. So those three are really important. The most important part of product strategy, and where I've seen like rule above all else, is novelty. Novelty absolutely wins, because novelty can encapsulate multiple other ones, and they're like, novelty can stop the scroll just by giving people something truly unique. And our most viral products, they're very often driven by the fact that they're novel. So if you can give people a moment on the feed where they're discovering something completely new, something exciting, something they didn't know that they wanted to have in their life yet, that is the absolute key. So if you wanted to just focus on one, like bring the customer something new, and that doesn't mean that you need to develop a whole new product for TikTok Shop. Yes, brands do that, and we do that often with our brands. But if you can present something that within your range of products that's going to be truly novel for the customer that they haven't heard about before, that's the absolute key to winning viral product strategy on TikTok Shop. And it's not in this deck as an example, but there's a really great one from Remington, which is a popular hair care brand, heritage brand. They wanted to lead with what they thought was their novel products, what they thought was like the new things that they were bringing out to market. But in actual fact, what we managed to do was take one of their products that had been out for a very long time, but had never really been given any marketing and never been given a chance to shine. But it was like super novel, and it was these heated rollers basically that you put in your hair, heats up your hair, and then when you take them out, your hair is curly. So it saves you going to the salon to get it done, or having like an expensive styling rod that also takes a while and is manual for you to do. So it solves a real problem. But it just hadn't been shown to the masses because it'd been out for 20 years. They marketed it when it first came out. They didn't have channels like this to showcase it. So TikTok Shop actually gave them the opportunity to do that. So when we pushed it on the platform, it just went insanely viral, and it's now one of their best selling products because it was novel and people saw that it added genuine value to their life. The last part of the product strategy is timing compounds. So what that means is pretty obvious when you think about it, right? But if you're gonna be pushing like a big winter, heavy jacket, then push it in winter and not in summer. Or if you're talking about something that's like super seasonal, or the other thing that happens quite a lot is like culturally relevant products. So if something's trending already, like we see this, we've got a supplement brand, for example, that they've got their hero product, but their secondary hero product is matcha, and matcha's just been all the rage for the past couple of years. So them having a matcha product, and for us to basically jump on what's already trending content, that's why timing compounds. So it's either seasonal relevance or cultural relevance. Like if you can tap into either of those moments, then it helps accelerate things because the content's already out there and people are already talking about these things and thinking about these things. This is a great example of almost all of the product strategy framework working in harmony. So this is a Shark Hydrogo fan. Now I talked about struggles of getting brands to work. So when we first launched Shark on TikTok Shop in the UK, we'd been working with them in the US for a while. And been doing really well over there. When we first launched them in the UK, we just couldn't find the right hero product. Like it's a really well-known brand, but the products are quite expensive. It's also widely available. So how do we have that moment of novelty, like true novelty on the feed? Was the challenge that we had. So we tried quite a lot of different things through the course of the start of last year. And then around May time, this product came in, which is a Shark Hydrogo fan. It's a portable fan. It also disperses like a cooling mist. And it just looks cool. It's like a little bit of a fashion accessory as well. So the fact that it's this portable fan that came in all of these different like pastel colors and this color here, it really stopped the scroll because it was a compelling visual and it was quite unique looking, like something that people hadn't really seen before. And then we had the novelty aspect to it because Shark hadn't done a portable fan before. And they also had this cooling mist that came out that didn't get your skin wet, which I thought was a super interesting angle. So like because of the way that the water disperses into the air, it's so thin that it gives you the cooling sensation, but if you touch your skin, it's not wet. So it's quite an interesting angle to take for social. And then when you think about timing, so that when we brought this product out, it was May last year. But if you remember right, around the end of June last year in the UK, we had a heatwave hit, and that was the exact same time as TikTok's summer sale hit. So we had the first discount on this product, and we had an exclusive price on TikTok Shop because TikTok were also subsidizing this product a little bit. So that was our little bit of exclusivity. We always had the novelty, we had the stopping of the scroll, and then we had the timing. So we had all the elements together that combined, and this ended up going insanely viral. We'd done over £1 million worth of sales on TikTok Shop in a week just on this product. And it ended up selling out across the business and was out of stock most of the summer. Didn't come back in stock till September, where obviously it wasn't as popular when it came back because of the weather. So I want to tell you like what doesn't work with product strategies, and I think this is the biggest mistakes that people make. So number one is using the same hero product as other channels. Just because something works on Amazon, because something works on a different marketplace, because something sells really well in retail, doesn't mean that it's going to sell on TikTok Shop. You need to have those different elements of the product strategy framework, at least one or two of those, for it to work on the platform. The other big mistake that people make, pushing your full catalog at once. So trying to push too many products just won't work. You want to be laser focused on a handful of products. And then I say being boring in quotation marks because there is the everyday run of the mill stuff that does convert on TikTok Shop. But like I said, novelty is really what wins on the platform. So if you don't have a novel angle with a kind of what I'd call a more boring everyday product, you need to find a way to create one. That's the challenge. So another brand that's been incredibly successful for us on the platform, but we struggled with it first as well, was Tefal. So they're one of the biggest cookware brands in the world. I'm sure most of you have had a Tefal pan at some point in your life, or a Tefal product in your life. But basically, the reason that we struggled with them is Tefal do a lot, like their pans are known for like quality, and I don't think it's a boring brand, but you might stray into the territory of like it's your kind of run of the day, every meal type stuff. So we had to really find a story to tell in amongst that. And what they had was this Ingenio pan set, which is going viral right now at the moment on TikTok Shop. Kind of spoiled the ending for you there that we got it viral, but it's viral at the moment on TikTok Shop, and what that does is it tells a really interesting story. It's novelty in action. So you've got basically this full set of pans that stacks on top of each other, and then it's got one handle that clips on and off. So that in itself, super novel for the platform, super easy visual to show, and a great story to tell. And we're able to put this product on a exclusive discount just for TikTok Shop as well. So we've got the price and the exclusivity that's able to drive it. So when we combine all of those elements together, then that's how we get a recipe for success. I didn't even mean that as a pun intended, but that was very much a pun intended, wasn't it? So once you've got the product strategy absolutely right, how are you actually going to get the story out there? Because that's the key, right? Once you've got the right product strategy, right story to tell, how do you do it? And affiliates are the absolute key to that. So what affiliates are essentially in a nutshell is content creators on the platform that are making content on behalf of your brand, and they're going to be linking to that PDP. So they're going to help you convert on that product. And what they'll do is they'll find lots of creative and interesting ways to tell that story. Lots of different names, ethnicities, shapes, faces, lots of different ways of telling the story of your product. And that's what you really need, because you're going to need to appeal to thousands of people if you want to go viral, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of people if you want to go viral on TikTok Shop. So for most brands, they account for anywhere between 70 to 90% of all revenue on TikTok Shop, and we sometimes see it even higher than that. Just depends on the brand and if they've got live streaming as part of it. But they're absolutely crucial to your success on the channel. And if you're working with affiliates, there's a few things to really take note of. So when we originally started, we went down the UGC route. So what a lot of like paid social agencies would do, where we created content that was very stylized, had a very set structure in place, and it didn't work. Unsurprisingly, it didn't work at all, actually, and we failed for quite a long time as a business. For the first like 6-7 months, we didn't really get any viral product strategies to take off, and couldn't quite understand why. And then the penny kind of dropped that we were going about it the wrong way. We shouldn't have been making content. We should have been letting affiliates do what they do best, which is make grounded, raw, and real content. Which, when you do that and you have the right product strategy, that's when things really work. So if I could describe it in a nutshell, what your content should look like, it should look like your mum made it on her phone. And my mum is indeed an affiliate. That is my actual mother. And shameless plug there, you can follow her and buy from her if you want to. She's just getting started on our affiliate journey. So I've been throwing her in quite a few of my presentations lately. She's doing well.
Commission, Ben.
What was that, sorry?
If you get some commission for your plugging.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, she's looked after me my whole life, so we'll let her have the commission.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah, so in a nutshell, really, you want it to be grounded, raw, and real. And to be honest, you don't need to do much for that to happen. You just need to get the product strategy part right. Then you need to brief in creators with excellent ideas, and then you need to be okay with allowing them to do their thing. Which, depending on the size of brand you are, you're either going to feel like, I can't let that happen, and there are ways to combat that and put guardrails in place if you're a big brand. If you're small, medium enterprise brand, then you should just go for broke on this 100%. Because at the end of the day, these creators are going to tell your story in the most compelling way that they see for themselves, and they're your customers. They're real people. So why should you restrict them from being able to do that, especially if it's working? So I wanted to give you another framework that you can use for building out a really robust affiliate strategy. Basically, this is what we use internally. This is going to be the pillars of each of your strategy. So when we think about acquisition, it's like, where are we getting the creators from? What do the creators look like? What's the story we're trying to tell? And who's the creators that are going to represent that in the best way possible? So what are all the ways that we're acquiring it, and how many creators are we working with? That's your acquisition tactics. Briefing, you've got your product strategy in place, you know the stories that you want to tell, so translate that in a way that makes it super easy for creators. And you want to have really clear cut like hooks at the start of a brief as well. So like what you want the creator to say that's really going to draw the audience in when they see the content. Incentives, so affiliates are mostly incentivized on commission. There are some paid models out there as well, and it depends on the creator. But you want to think about giving them a really compelling incentive, and also adding something in that makes them want to work a bit harder for you. So TikTok's actually got a feature where you can set a base commission rate, but you can also set a sales target for your creators, where if they hit it, they get additional commission. So that's great. And then you can also do that manually as well. If you wanted to run like a competition for your creators, you want to give them stuff that gets them excited and keeps them working for the next goal and next goal, almost gamifying it in a way. Retention's such an important one. So once you find creators that really work for you, a few different ways to do that. One is like fundamental, just being a decent human, like talking to them like a human being, giving them lots of positive feedback and constructive feedback as well. so that they really want to continue to work with you, because all these creators, they're building they've either got a full business out of this, or they're building a business on the side, and their business is their brand. So if you can empower them to do that better and treat them like a real human being, that is genuinely by far and away the best way to keep creators loyal to you. So that's what we do on behalf of the brands that we work with. And in tracking, it's all about the key metrics. So content supply is a huge thing on TikTok Shop. You want an enormous amount of volume of content for the algorithm to test. So one of the key metrics that we track is the number of posts that we get per sample sent out, because we want our samples to be really efficient. So if everything else in the chain is right on this framework, then you should be getting lots of content back for every sample that you post. And then there's other metrics to track, but I'm not going to go into it in too much detail today. Love this case study, and love to tell people about it, because people doubt the power of TikTok Shop quite often, and whether it works for, like, if I'm a new brand launching on there, like will I even be able to cut through? Will I be able to make a difference? So Dr. Malaxin is a brand that almost no one in the UK would have heard of in November, December last year. It was a complete unknown. At the same time, it was doing $25 million a month on TikTok Shop in the US. So probably most of the people that knew it in the UK were TikTok Shop affiliates, but not consumers. Now, it launched at the end of December. With us, we launched with them, and they've sold more than £10 million in that time frame, had over 300 million views on their content, and it's now about to launch in Boots. So it's basically went from being a brand that's completely unknown to having this huge market awareness. Now, I'm showing you like a fringe case here. This won't be like the same for every single brand that launches, of course, because there just isn't enough market for every brand to do that. But I really want to show people like what's possible when you get it right. And they just came onto the platform really aggressive, great product strategy, good story to tell with the brand, and then allowed us to be really aggressive with the work that we're doing with them as well, which has just helped scale it tremendously over the past few months. So it's a really good one to check out if you want an example of like stuff that's working really well. And I'm sure if you're into skincare at all, you've probably seen them on your TikTok feed in the last few months. By the way, I know we've got the chat going as well, because someone commented, Pete. If anyone's seen any of these brands, got any thoughts, feedback, or anything, I'd love to know as well. Like, if people have seen them on their feed. One of the big talking points around TikTok Shop is like, once you get the product strategy part right, then you've got the affiliate part, and you get that part right as well. What's the downstream impact of that? What's the wider holistic business impact? We call that the halo effect. And basically what this is because of the way that TikTok Shop works as a channel. You think about other channels like Amazon or B&Q. Yeah, there's some degree of brand awareness when you come onto that platform and you search for a specific type of product, and that's the product that you see in the search result. There is a degree of brand awareness there, right? But more often than not, it's demand capture, and that's what Pete was talking about at the start there. People go on those channels with intent to buy. People go on TikTok to have fun, to learn, to discover new things, to be inspired, educated, and informed, is what TikTok say. So when you're scrolling on TikTok, what often happens with a viral brand is it's a product that they've never seen before. And that's what I was talking about, that novelty aspect. It's about discoverability. It's about inspiring people to want to try something new. So when you do that, you're putting the seed in your customer's mind, and they might not necessarily convert there and then. We've got loads of people that just don't buy on TikTok Shop. It's just not a channel that they use. They may have had a bad experience when it launched in 2021. They just don't buy from it now. Or we've got some people that just prefer to buy in stores. There's still a huge portion of the UK that don't really like to shop online. They avoid it if they can. There's people that love to just go into the shops and have like a retail experience. There's people that just religiously buy on Amazon. Ironically, that's me. I'll buy almost everything on Amazon, despite being the TikTok Shop guy. Those people are going to buy where they want to buy, but you're planting the seed on TikTok Shop because they're seeing the product for the first time there. So we call that the halo impact. Incredibly hard to track and quantify because we don't know where people buy and when they buy and the reasons that they buy. It's an age-old marketing problem, of course. But we can see tangible moments of this happening, and that's the example that I've put here. If anyone knows, there's a huge skincare brand, massive in the UK and the US, called Inculist. One of my favorite brands we've ever worked with. Absolutely love their team and the founder to bits. They're an amazing brand to work with, and their products are superb. I do use them daily. So shameless plug on Inculist if anyone's interested in it. I haven't presented for them on lives, but I would be keen to do it in future because I do actually religiously use the products. This product here was one that we picked out from the range that was not a priority for the business at all. It's called the glycolic acid body stick, and basically it clears up quite a lot of common body skin ailments. So like if you know KP bumps that you get in your arms, if any of you have those, or like shaving rashes is quite a common thing, and especially like as we get into this time of year, it's becoming more and more of a thing as like we're thinking about like bikini lines and that sort of stuff. So we thought this product had potential. Inculus didn't, so we had a bit of back and forth at the time over whether we'd push it. Eventually, they agreed to let us push it. This was last June. So we put it out on TikTok Shop, seeded it to creators, did the whole process of what I just talked you through there, and it went viral. And we ended up doing about £80,000 in sales that month, which they were not expecting and had not forecasted demand of that level for this product on this channel. So at the time, it was like their 11th bestseller in Boots. It was a very slow mover on Amazon. Ended up going out of stock because of the demand on TikTok Shop. They went and reworked their supply chain, brought it back in stock about 8 weeks later, and we sent it viral again. And I think the fact they'd been out of stock actually helped us in the end because of the scarcity. So when it came back in stock, it went nuts. Now that product alone, just that one product, anywhere between 300 to 500,000 a month on TikTok Shop in sales. And without any other marketing done on it, is their number one bestseller in Boots, which is their biggest channel, and number one bestseller on Amazon without any other marketing done on it. So that's one of those kind of tangible examples that is undeniable that the halo impact was there. Because where would people have heard about it? People were not searching for this type of product before. Where would people have heard about it if it wasn't from TikTok? Another really powerful effect of the platform, and I'm just realized at the time, so I'm going to speed up a little bit and spend a bit less time. I've been enjoying talking through these examples, so I'll keep it brisk.
There's so many great insights. I think, yeah, I mean, there's so much to go through, but no, take your time.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we've got a few minutes for questions at the end. But yeah, important thing is like virality compounds. And what do I mean by that? It's when you start to have that snowball effect of virality, like I talked you through in that framework, as we kind of enter from the grow phase into scale, this is when we start to see virality compounds. So what it means is it's almost like the creators are doing the work for you. So when we start to get things viral, other creators see one creator post something like this type of content, this hook, and they get inspired by it, and then they try this type of thing, and this catches fire. So that all of that just starts to snowball, and it means what you get is a couple different things happening. One, you get more sales naturally because there's different angles out there and people buy for different reasons. But you get a lot of amazing feedback about why people actually like your products. Like that's something I've seen that brands never expected from this channel is like, holy shit, I didn't know that that people were using the glycolic acid body stick for shaving. I thought it was just for KP bumps and like smooth arms and stuff. I didn't know that it was solving shaving irritation issues. Yet we've had 11 million views on content related to shaving irritation issues. So we should really double down on that messaging for other channels. And I think that's one of the things that's overlooked with TikTok Shop is how powerful that is. And the other thing is about how powerful it can be beyond the platform. So I love this one of my favorite things that we've ever done. We work with Ninja, who I'm sure is a brand that most of you are familiar with. So we originally started with them in the US, and they weren't really sure on the halo effect. Like it was one of those things at the time, this was just over a year ago, that was talked about a lot within the business, and there were some people agreed with it, some people didn't, and I just wanted us to find a way to prove it. Like me and the team really wanted to find a way to like really prove it to the business. So we found a product that was super slow moving for them in general. which was this coffee machine here. I even remember the SKU code for some reason. PB051 sticks in my head. So this is, I can't even remember the title of the actual product, but that's the SKU code for it. PB051. We love this product because it's super unique. It's priced for value 100% because it's a Ninja coffee machine, which normally on the more expensive side, but a super value price point. And it does a few different things. So it does pods, it does grounds, and it has a milk frother on the side. So getting all of those combination of things into one, quite rare for a coffee machine to have all of that. It just hadn't really had its story told from the brand, so it hadn't been pushed out into market in the right way. So it had never really had that awareness that it needed. And it was in Walmart, it was in Target, it was in Amazon, and it was doing very slow numbers in all of those channels, almost to the point that they were thinking about putting on what's called a slob list, where they basically pull it out and it starts to go through like discounted retailers. So that was the point in time that they were at. We saw an opportunity with it on TikTok Shop. So again, a bit like some of the other examples I've given you, platform exclusive price, had novelty, does stop the scroll. It's got some cool colorways as well. This is the black one, but it's got like a green version as well. And all of the kind of elements of the product strategy being there. This was also just before American summer was kicking in last year. So there was like an iced coffee element to this as well, where people were making iced coffees at home. Price comparison to like a Starbucks $7 cup. So it ended up going viral on TikTok Shop. We done a few $100,000 in 10 days, which was amazing. But what we also had was millions, I can't remember the exact number off my head, but millions of views on content for this product, which, much like the Inculus glycolic acid body stick, started to move in Walmart, started to move in Target, started to move in Amazon. And again, this product ended up sold out across their business before it was about to be put on a slob list. So I thought that was one of my favorite examples. I call it a pocket test, and it's something we pull out quite often if we need to prove Halo, is we find a product like that, prove it out to the business, and then it's kind of undeniable that it's working. And I just wanted to tell you a bit about the Ninja example. So I was talking to Pete the other day, and I let him know where I got this hat actually, which was the first time I went to their headquarters was when we set up a live to push this product here, which is an Ninja slushy machine. And it kind of brings us on nicely to the last part of our talk today, which is live streaming. So we went over to Boston to run their first ever live. It was to sell this Ninja slushy machine because we decided to focus live around that. At that point in time, they were doing really small numbers for them. It's a $7 billion business, and they were doing less than 6 figures every month. So not much for them on the channel. We went over to push this live. It was scheduled for 8 hours long. We planned a full day to talk about the slushy maker, to talk about other products in between it. And it was a really exciting thing for them. Ended up going a bit too well because we sold out in the first 55 minutes of slushy makers, and the audience weren't too happy because they all wanted slushy makers, and that's what we'd advertised for in the live. So we cut it 55 minutes short. So I flew all the way over to Boston for 55 minutes worth of work. But it validated the channel to the business, which led to the example that I showed you on the last slide. And I think if you're looking for really good TikTok Shop examples, both Ninja and Shark, part of the same company, great example of how to do TikTok Shop well and how to do product strategy well, because they really build products that tell a story, which is what you need for the platform. So yeah, I promised I'd talk to you about lives. I call this the cherry on top because my puns are terrible, but also because it really is like the little cherry that you put on top of the TikTok Shop pie, because you don't need lives to be successful in TikTok Shop. You'll often hear people talking about lives. It's the very out there, forward-facing thing. But we always start with affiliate first. So build up through affiliate, get that to scale, and then add lives on top. And it's usually mostly incremental GMV that you start to see from live streaming, which is great. But typically for most brands, it's only about 10 to 20% of their revenue on the platform. And the most operationally heavy part, which is why I always say to add it later on. So once you've got the algorithm moving, take that incremental revenue. But if you do it early on, big operational outlay versus where the low-hanging fruit is, which is usually for affiliate. There's a few exceptions to this. So I've seen brands that are much more live heavy than affiliate heavy, but for the vast majority, that's the case. Why do I love live shopping so much? I think it presents this totally unique experience for viewers, and particularly for D2C focused brands that don't really have a proper retail experience, it gives them a retail platform. Essentially, it gives them the closest that they can get to having a physical retail store, but through your phone. So I think that's one of the most exciting things about it. And I did promise you some revealing photos, so this is actually one of our first ever lives, and I don't have the blonde hair anymore, it's brown now. So yeah, this was back in the day, and kind of just the evolution of our lives that I wanted to share with you guys to show you kind of where they've got to now. And these are some of the biggest brands that you see on the platform. And I think that this is exciting things about live. It gives you a chance to give your viewers a really unique brand experience that's also commercially driven. And you can't do that too often because you normally have to pick one or the other. But you see that as a recurring theme through TikTok Shop. You can do the awareness piece, you can have the brand experience, but you can also get the sales. So you can kind of have your cake and eat it too, which is quite unique for a channel. So this was like the Wonder Market, which was a Christmas activation we did for a big brand called Wonderskin. There's Dr. Relaxin that you see, the one that I talked about a few slides ago. This is Rimmel London. I love this because what we did, you can't really see it here because it's a frozen image, but what we did was they were launching their Mega Lift mascara. So we built an actual elevator in our studio, which we deconstructed a real one, put it back together, had green screen, and because it's Rimmel London, we had it going up and down across the London skyline. So that was a really inviting experience for viewers into the live stream, because they were like, "What's going on? There's a lift going up and down on my feed." So yeah, and then this is kind of the way that live's heading. It's blending content, entertainment, and commerce all into one. So we've had a few moments recently with some celebrities that have bought into live streaming. We launched Rita Ora's brand towards the end of last year, and she came on a live. It was a crazy, like, fun-filled live experience with some karaoke moments with her singing and everything, but also talking about the brand. So all just kind of blended entertainment and commerce into one. There was a huge viewership for that as well. It was a really big moment for TikTok Shop in the UK to have a celebrity to do that. So we were super honored to work on it. And then just recently, I'm not sure if any of you seen Tyson Fury had his comeback fight, but that actually meant that we got to do a live with him and his brand behind the scenes at the fight, and that's the Gypsy King himself just there presenting on a TikTok live stream. So it's cool to see the way that we're heading. So that's just to kind of recap, and then I'll give you, we've probably got time for like one question maybe. But yeah, product strategy, number one most important thing if you want to go viral on the platform. Affiliates, second most important thing. That's where most of your sales are coming from. So make sure you prioritize them. And then live's very much the cherry on top. So not a necessity, but it will drive incremental growth. And then where we really see the channel perform best is part of a holistic marketing mix. So you do need to account for that halo impact when you go viral. And that's kind of it. I just wanted to say that I feel like we're just getting started. There's only, I think, 11 Western markets open right now, but they're planning to open a lot more. So the platform continues to go global. It continues to scale in the markets where it's already established. So we really are just getting started. And thank you for listening.
Awesome. Thank you, Ben. Yeah, you rattled through so much. And I think, again, as I said before we started, I think we could talk for hours and days on this. I think to summarize again, we know that the time to succeed and to go viral can take a while, but it can be as quick for some particular products or types of sellers. There's a need to reinvent and add new products. And you mentioned the evolution, right? The platform is evolving, and I think as products change, will also evolve. I just wanted to also rattle through this because we have 2 seconds for a question or two. Just again, from a technical perspective, operationally as well, how to add TikTok Shop within your base account. It's super easy. Search the integration and look for TikTok. TikTok essentially and Base works together so that Base can help push your products to TikTok. It can manage your price, your stock, your inventory across TikTok alongside your other channels. Importantly, of course, it's the orders, and it sends the tracking back to TikTok Shop as well. So it's a really slick way to incorporate TikTok Shop as a really obviously relevant and highly successful channel for you. If you need any help on incorporating TikTok Shop within Base, help is there. I'll leave this slide here just before we go to 1 minute of questions. Again, here are a couple of links for you to look at. If you want to speak to Ben directly, just above the Unsociable logo there is Ben's QR code. That will then go to his LinkedIn profile. So by all means, scan that. On the left-hand side, again, we have that link to start up and speak to the TikTok shop team. That's a mouthful. To be able to begin your journey there. Also, if you'd like to register with Base, please follow that link and use the TikTok 50 code to get your first month for free. There's one question that's come in here from Laura. How often should I be creating content for TikTok? And I guess, Ben, this is a difficult question to answer, but in terms of evolution and being relevant, do you have a guideline on that?
Yeah, I mean, two parts to this. So if Laura's talking about organic content, then I'd say quality and quantity matter, because I know most people usually say one over the other. So whatever you can output at a rate that you feel like you can still maintain a good standard of content is probably the right answer. And it's different because there's huge viral accounts that post twice a month because they've just absolutely nailed what that content looks like. And then there's other accounts that post 20 videos a day. So there really is no right answer for that. It's if you can maintain a good quality of content at a high output, that's your best chance of success. When it comes to affiliate content and creator content on the platform, really about quantity. Like there's going to be a lot of the videos that go viral probably surprise you, but you need a high volume of content coming out.
Another delivery. A question here for Jakob. How important is the data behind these products? So product titles, description, images, etc.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably quite low down the priority list compared to other marketplaces. Obviously, it's absolutely key for Amazon and other channels. For TikTok Shop, you'll see some extremely viral products that the listings are to be desired, left to be desired. So you should still do it and it should still look good, but it'd be low down my priority list over the other things that I went through.
Okay, that's great to know. So again, from a base content perspective, if you've already got your descriptions and product data for your other channels, you can use that same set to be able to push onto TikTok without much manipulation.
Yeah,
we are 2 minutes over, which I thought was going to be a record in terms of being able to stop it, because I think again we could talk all day. A big thanks to you all for joining. Please keep in touch. But again, a big thanks to Ben as well for his time, and look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Thanks, Pete. Appreciate it. And thanks everyone for joining.
Cheers. Bye.